The Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, the ICPC, was for long perceived as the anti-graft body that had no ability to bite. Now, I went to the ICPC and met with Barrister Ekpo Nta, who corrects this impression with a list of arrests of top politicians and public officials. Well, listen carefully to this conversation. Barrister Ekpo Nta, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Well, let's begin now with what you said last year. You talked about adopting a preventive approach to tackling corruption. What's the latest on that?
We had actually started in 2012, but I can tell you that we are beginning to see very substantial and rewarding results. And if you permit me, I'll take one or two sectors. The aviation sector is one that comes readily to my mind. We ran a preventive program for staff at the international airport in Lagos, letting them know what would happen if they continued with the kind of behavior that was not in consonance with international best practices. We ran that program in December of 2014.
That was for your staff?
Yes, just for staff, operational staff. That covered customs, immigration, plant quarantine, FAA, and everybody immigration that works at the airport. We brought them in and had, I think, a 3-day workshop and seminar. And the Minister of Aviation then, Osita, was part of it. I also went to Lagos. January, they didn't see anything happen. February, they didn't see anything happen. So probably some of them started thinking it's the usual rhetoric in Nigeria. But in March this year, we decided to carry out a sting operation and caught some officers who were receiving money from traveling passengers, either as a thank you or by way of a demand. And that operation took place shortly before midnight. You know, a period you never expect that such a thing could happen. And that it was done publicly, and it sent very, very serious messages across to everybody. We even arrested somebody who was giving money because we want to use him as a witness. And from the testimonies we've received, including traveling passengers and the Ministry of Aviation Permanent Secretary recently, there's been a very, very marked change. People no longer demand openly, and even where you offer for good services, they say, no, we're satisfied with what we're earning. And we didn't catch them under ambush because we had given notice. And that's the whole essence of prevention. Prevention is not meant to replace sanction. It only tells you that if you must engage in risky behavior, these are the consequences.
Now, let me take something from what you said. You said people no longer collect money openly. That's what you recently sort of addressed subtly. But how are you taking this fight to other sectors, considering the blatant abuse of office?
We've expanded this to cover all other areas. I'll tell you, for example, the 8 state houses of assembly that have just been sworn in. We've run special programs for them in our academy. We started with the Northeast. We've covered the entire country, and we have spelled in black and white what it means to do oversight. Principally that you cannot go to the agencies you are investigating or carrying out oversight to make demands in terms of contracts, in terms of employment, and in terms of medical trips abroad. These things were happening, and people will write petitions, and then we'll begin to go after each and every person. But having put them through this program now, I'm very, very sure, based on their own testimony, that they are much better placed to address these issues. And this, you know, the initial complaint they had was that their constituents in their various wards made a lot of demands on them. You're getting married, please come and support. My child is sick, come and support. We need a borehole, or give us a generator. They raised those complaints, and so that's why they had to look for extra sources of income, and that invariably was from the public purse. Our interface with them was very simple. You have appropriated these funds during budget hearing. So part of the system that will get you out of that permanent demand is to do proper oversight functions over the executive. But we also have to look at it in terms of, you made the laws, and the law says corruption is abuse of office using public goods and services for private gain.
Well, let me get your ratings on the president's anti-corruption fight. Many people seem to think that the president is going one-sided on this. For instance, APC members are excluded from being under the watch list or being investigated, so to speak. What's your thought on this?
So far, I have not had situations where I have been given specific directives to go after anybody. And my law, the act that set up ICPC, does not even permit that, because we are signatory to the International Convention Against Corruption, the United Nations Convention Against Corruption, UNCAC. And it's very, very clear there that if you're setting up anti-corruption agencies, they must first and foremost be given independence and not subject to any political control. The moment you begin to be subject to political control, that is the end of your anti-corruption fight, because the international community is also monitoring us. We attend the same meetings in Vienna, state parties, as we have, I think, over 174 countries, and these are all held to international best practices. So it's very clear that anybody that has been invited is based on us having, one, received a petition, and we've done a bit of intelligence work. It's not every petition that comes here that we would investigate. Sometimes we invite the petitioner, can you please throw more light on this petition that you have sent to us, because a few gray areas. And quite a number of the likely responses we get is that, well, I saw it on internet, or we're eating somewhere and somebody said it. No basis. I keep making this very clear. Anything outside of our mandate, we cannot defend.
Arising from your experience in Vienna, what was the major thing that stood out as a major challenge for Nigeria, listening to other submissions from other countries? Do you think we're still up on this fight, so to speak, successfully?
Let me tell you that Nigeria has made substantial progress internationally, because most of the funds and assets that have been removed from this country and other countries, Nigeria is one country that has opened up to say, look, this person took our money and we believe it is here. We are going to join with you and prosecute this matter if need be, and give you assistance. If you want to have this person taken from Nigeria to your own jurisdiction for trial, we would assist. Most other countries of the world would try to shield their persons. In fact, Nigeria is used as an example. Some people thought it was maybe in a derogatory sense, but I think that it is to show absolute commitment to our desire that we will not condone these acts of blatant corruption. The Ibori case is known everywhere in the world today, that a former governor in Nigeria was arrested in the UK with the collaboration of an anti-corruption and other specialized agencies involved in the entire process, and monies have been recovered. Nigeria has also recovered partly funds that were traced to the Abacha family. Have you ever heard of the Mobutu funds? Have you heard of other countries making noise about it. No, you won't. They try to keep it low. But we have stated it very clear. And the current government came in and said exactly the same thing. We want our funds and assets returned. And the last meeting I had was the Conference of State Parties. It held in Russia, I think 3 weeks ago. And the major theme had to do with return of stolen assets to their countries of origin. And Nigeria championed the resolution asking for this return because our position was that based on the STAR report of the World Bank, $6 billion of stolen funds and assets from different countries of the world had been recovered. But only 3% had been returned to the countries of origin where these funds were taken away from, by their own indigenes or by foreign contractors. And so we insisted we had to have these monies back. Some of these monies have been recovered way back 10 years ago, like Iran. After the freezing of the accounts of the former Iranian government, they've been insisting that we want our money back, and that's taken 10 years. And Nigeria was in the forefront of putting that resolution. And then we had a counter resolution from the West, which said, well, you need to follow the normal processes, the legal processes before we return, and you are not very good at following those processes until we're very sure that these processes are addressed. And some of the problems that we face is that, have you convicted the person who removed the money from your jurisdiction? From which account did this come from into our own jurisdiction? And Nigeria's position was very clear.
All right, we'll take a break right now. We're still with Barrister Ekpo Nta, and we're still on the issue of corruption in Nigeria. Please stay with us.
I wish to address the vexed issue of judicial corruption. This is because allegations about corrupt judicial officers and staff now make headlines, news, or on more frequent basis. With each allegation that passes, the need is ever present for the judiciary to address this issue, and I feel it necessary to once again do so.